From becoming a legend to getting lost in the shuffle. From a glorious run in NXT to working as a backstage producer. This is what happened to every TNA wrestler who signed with WWE. Kicking off our list is none other than the phenomenal one himself, AJ Styles. From 2002 to 2013, AJ wasn't just a TNA wrestler, he was Mr. TNA himself. Styles built his legacy as the company's cornerstone, racked up multiple X-Division championships, world heavyweight title reigns, and his feuds with Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels put TNA on the map during its golden era. He was the guy who proved you didn't need WWE to be considered one of the best in the world. But here's the thing. In early 2013, Styles left TNA after contract negotiations fell off and became the hottest free agent in pro wrestling. Styles dominated New Japan and Ring of Honor as the cocky leader of the Bullet Club, and everyone knew it was only a matter of time before WWE came calling. In January 2016, Styles made his iconic debut at the Royal Rumble, and the wrestling world lost its collective mind. Unlike most TNA imports, WWE actually treated him like the star he was. He won multiple WWE championships, had classic feuds with John Cena and Roman Reigns, and became a main event fixture from day one. Today, AJ Styles is still an active WWE main roster star with recent contract extensions keeping him in the company through 2025. Styles even made an appearance at Slammiversary in 2025 while being signed with WWE in a moment that had every OG TNA fan shedding a tear. But while Styles had a legendary run in the WWE, the same can't be said about this next TNA original on our list. Bobby Roode's TNA journey started back in 2004 when he arrived as part of Team Canada. But it was his tag team with James Storm that changed everything. Beer Money became one of the greatest tag teams in TNA history, and their feuds against Team 3D and Motor City Machine Guns are still talked about today as some of the best tag team wrestling ever produced. Roode eventually broke out as a singles star, capturing the TNA World Heavyweight Championship and cementing himself as a main event player. In 2016, Roode left TNA and signed with WWE, heading straight to NXT. His glorious entrance became an instant phenomenon, and he won the NXT Championship during what many consider the brand's golden era. He got called up to the main roster where he had some solid mid-card title and tag title runs, though never quite reaching the main event level he deserved. After several start-and-stop pushes, and after undergoing multiple surgeries, Roode retired from in-ring competition in 2024. Today, he works backstage for WWE as a producer, helping the next generation of wrestlers craft their matches and storylines. But while Roode has found a respectable position within WWE's ecosystem, the same can't be said about his former tag team partner. James Storm debuted in TNA way back in 2002 and became one of the most loyal wrestlers for the company. But that loyalty would come back to cost him dearly. As one half of Beer Money with Bobby Roode, he achieved tag team greatness with multiple World Tag Team Championship reigns. He also had a successful singles run, capturing the TNA World Heavyweight Championship in 2011 and feuding with major names like Kurt Angle and the Aces and Eights faction. But here's where things get messy. In late 2015, Storm had a brief run in NXT, but declined an offer from WWE in favor of returning to TNA, where he was promised another tag team run with Roode. In fact, AJ Styles' WWE entrance theme was originally recorded for James Storm, but he refused to sign with the company in favor of reforming Beer Money with Bobby Roode. Roode would later depart for NXT in 2016, and Storm would float around on Impact Wrestling without a clear direction. After leaving TNA in 2018, Storm became a mainstay on the NWA and independent circuit. He even made a brief return to TNA in 2022 and reformed America's Most Wanted with Chris Harris. Today, James Storm continues working indie shows and NWA events, but you can't help but wonder how different his career would have looked had he signed full-time with WWE in 2015. But while Storm never made it to WWE's main roster, let's talk about a TNA homegrown talent who got absolutely burned by the bright lights of WWE. Ethan Carter III didn't just have a TNA run, he dominated the entire promotion. EC3's character was perfect, the arrogant, entitled nephew of Dixie Carter who actually had the talent to back up his ego. His undefeated streak and undeniable mic work made him one of TNA's biggest homegrown stars of the decade. In January 2018, EC3 returned to WWE. And yes, I said returned because he actually had a forgettable developmental stint there years earlier. This time, he arrived as a fully formed star and had a brief run on the Black and Gold brand, competing in a ladder match for the NXT North American title, and then feuding with the Velveteen Dream. He got called up to the main roster in 2019, But here's where things went sideways. WWE completely fumbled the bag with EC3, giving him almost no mic time despite being one of the best talkers in the business. He won the 24/7 championship several times in 2019, but it was a massive step down from his TNA glory days. WWE released him in April 2020, and honestly, it felt like a mercy killing. After WWE, EC3 started his own promotion called Control Your Narrative, which ended up being a disaster. The promotion later merged with NWA, where he won the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship in 2023. Today, EC3 remains active as a wrestler, producer, and promoter, but his failed WWE run will always be remembered as one of wrestling's biggest missed opportunities. However, EC3 wasn't the only wrestler associated with Dixie Carter who had a run in WWE. Rockstar Spud was TNA's ultimate underdog, literally and figuratively. His run in TNA featured him as both a comedic heel and a scrappy babyface in the X Division scene. He won the Feast or Fired briefcase, competed in multiple X Division storylines, and his hair versus hair match against EC3 became one of the most memorable moments of his TNA tenure. WWE signed him in 2017, repackaging him as Drake Maverick for the Cruiserweight division. His run on 205 Live featured him as a comedic manager-type character, and later becoming the manager for AOP. But Maverick's most memorable work with WWE was his emotional storyline during the 2020 releases. WWE fired him during the pandemic, but his passionate plea to stay with the company went viral, and WWE eventually rehired him. Today, Drake Maverick works for WWE as a writer and producer, occasionally making on-screen appearances. But while Maverick was never meant to be a world champion in the WWE, let's talk about a TNA original who had all the right ingredients, but WWE never pulled the trigger. Samoa Joe's TNA run is the stuff of legends. He joined TNA in 2005 and immediately went on a legendary undefeated streak that made him the most dangerous man in professional wrestling. Joe captured the X Division Championship 5 times, and his feuds with Kurt Angle and AJ Styles produced some of the greatest matches in TNA history. He headlined Bound for Glory, won the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, and was a mainstay of the company's main event scene during its peak years. Joe signed with WWE in 2015, starting in NXT where he became a multi-time NXT champion. The main roster came calling in 2017, and Joe feuded with Brock Lesnar, AJ Styles, Roman Reigns, and other top stars while capturing the United States Championship. But here's the frustrating part. While Joe was booked as a serious threat, he was never given the chance to shine as a world champion in WWE. Poor booking and injuries derailed his momentum multiple times. WWE used him as a commentator and enforcer when he couldn't compete, and he was released and rehired multiple times between 2021 and 2022. His final WWE release came in 2022, ending a complicated 7-year relationship with the company. Today, Samoa Joe is signed to AEW, where he has had multiple title reigns and is still going strong at the age of 46. While Joe has tasted success outside TNA, let's talk about a former TNA World Champion who was never able to recreate the magic once he left the company. From 2004 to 2016, Eric Young did it all in TNA. Comedy acts, world championship runs, romantic angles, and everything in between. Young captured the Impact World Championship multiple times. He's the only male wrestler to hold the Knockouts Tag Team Championship, and his feuds with Kurt Angle, Bobby Roode, and Eddie Edwards showed his versatility as both a comedic character and a main event threat. The guy could make you laugh one week and then genuinely make you hate him the next. WWE signed Eric Young in 2016, and he became a founding member of Sanity in NXT. The faction won the NXT Tag Team Championships and looked like they'd be a main roster force. But here's where WWE dropped the ball. Sanity's main roster call-up was an absolute disaster. The group was split up almost immediately, and Young became a mid-card afterthought before getting released in 2020. His WWE run lasted 4 years but felt like a complete waste of his talents. After his WWE release, Young returned to Impact Wrestling, where he's been having some of his best work in years. He briefly rejoined WWE in 2023, where he was originally supposed to be a part of Bray Wyatt's stable with Uncle Howdy, but quit the company and came back to TNA. Today, Eric Young remains active in TNA, and his run proves that sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side. But while Eric got a chance to showcase his talent in a WWE ring, let's talk about a TNA monster who never got that privilege even after signing with the company. Abyss was TNA's original monster. Debuting in 2002, the masked hardcore wrestler became one of TNA's most recognizable characters for nearly 2 decades. He won the TNA World Championship, captured multiple tag team titles, and his hardcore feuds with Sting, Sabu, and Raven are the stuff of nightmares. Abyss was inducted into the Impact Hall of Fame in 2018, and his dual persona storyline was some of TNA's most creative character work, proving Abyss was more than just a monster. Now here's the interesting part. Abyss never actually had a notable WWE in-ring run. Despite being considered by WWE multiple times over the years, he remained a TNA loyalist through 2019. However, WWE eventually came calling once again, just not for his wrestling services. Starting in 2019, WWE hired Chris Parks as a backstage producer and coach. Today, Abyss works behind the scenes for WWE, helping structure matches and mentoring younger talent. He's retired from full-time in-ring competition, but remains an influential figure in wrestling. The monster finally found his home, just in a suit instead of his signature mask. Moving on from TNA's monster, let's talk about the most iconic tag team in TNA history who recently signed with WWE after almost 2 decades. The Motor City Machine Guns debuted in TNA in 2007 and immediately set the standard for what modern tag team wrestling could be. Their feuds with Beer Money, Team 3D, and Generation Me produced instant classics, including their legendary Best of 5 series. But their success wasn't limited to TNA. The Guns also captured the Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships in New Japan. The chemistry between Sabin and Shelley was undeniable, and every match felt like poetry in motion. In 2024, WWE finally brought the Motor City Machine Guns into the fold. The team debuted on SmackDown in 2024 and quickly won the WWE Tag Team titles. While SmackDown's tag team scene looks directionless at the moment, only time will tell if the Guns will be able to recreate the magic of their TNA run under Triple H's booking. While the Guns had a peaceful exit from TNA, let's talk about a controversial wrestler who ruined his own career due to his notorious habits. Aries was the X Division personified during TNA's glory years. His massive X Division run saw him capture the championship 6 times, and his feuds with Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and Kurt Angle showcased his technical wrestling ability and cocky heel persona. He wasn't just an X Division guy, though. Aries eventually moved up the card and competed for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. His greatest man that ever lived gimmick was the perfect blend of arrogance and skill. Fans loved to hate him, and he delivered in the ring every single time. WWE signed Aries in late 2016, and he arrived in NXT in early 2017 with high expectations. His run focused primarily on the cruiserweight division, where he became a featured performer. Aries had solid matches and character work, but his potential was restricted by the limitations of the cruiserweight division. Creative differences and backstage issues led to his departure, and he left WWE in 2017 after barely a year. After WWE, Aries returned to Impact Wrestling and continued working the independent circuit. However, Aries' most controversial moment came when he no-sold the finish of his match against Johnny Impact at Bound for Glory and basically got him blacklisted from the company. Today, Aries remains active as a performer on the independent scene, but his story serves as a reminder of how ego and pride can destroy even the most talented performer. Switching gears, let's talk about a legendary TNA knockout who never got the chance to show her full potential in WWE. Awesome Kong was a force of nature in TNA's Knockouts division, and that's not an exaggeration. She dominated the Knockouts championship scene and played the unstoppable monster heel to perfection. Her legendary feuds with Gail Kim and Taylor Wilde helped establish the Knockouts division as must-see television. WWE finally signed her in late 2010, repackaging her as Karma with creepy vignettes showing her ripping the heads off dolls. She debuted at Extreme Rules in April 2011, attacking Michelle McCool and putting the entire Divas locker room on notice. But here's the sad part. Karma's WWE run was over before it really started. In May 2011, she broke down crying in the ring and revealed she was pregnant. Tragically, she suffered a miscarriage, and after taking time off for personal reasons, WWE released her in July 2012. Her only real WWE match was a Royal Rumble appearance in 2012 where she eliminated Michael Cole. After WWE, Kong returned to the independent scene and had another TNA run before signing with All Elite Wrestling in 2019. She joined the Nightmare Collective with Brandy Rhodes, though the stable was short-lived. Today, Awesome Kong is retired from in-ring competition, but makes occasional guest appearances for NWA and TNA. But while Kong never got the chance to shine in WWE, let's talk about an ex-TNA wrestler who became a mainstay of WWE TV. Xavier Woods is a bit different from everyone else on this list. He had a brief run in TNA and also won the tag titles with Jay Lethal, but he wasn't a TNA cornerstone like the others. WWE signed him to their developmental system in the early 2000s, and that's where his real journey began. Woods became a founding member of the New Day alongside Kofi Kingston and Big E, and even won the King of the Ring tournament in 2021. His Up Up Down Down YouTube channel has millions of subscribers, and Woods has successfully bridged the gap between pro wrestling and gaming culture. But while Woods was never a main event star in TNA, let's talk about a former TNA World Champion who's become a key part of WWE television without having to get in the ring. Magnus was TNA's homegrown British star who climbed all the way to the top of the mountain. From 2008 to 2015, Magnus worked his way up from mid-card to main event status in TNA. He captured the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, and his feuds with Sting, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and Eric Young showcased his evolution from tag team wrestler to world champion. He left TNA in 2015, but his wrestling career was far from over. After leaving TNA, Magnus worked under his real name Nick Aldis and became a massive star in the NWA. He won the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship and had one of the longest and most prestigious reigns in modern NWA history. Aldis defended that title around the world and even faced Cody Rhodes at the inaugural All-In event. WWE eventually came calling, but not for his in-ring work. In the early 2020s, WWE signed Aldis to a producer role, and today, he works as SmackDown's on-screen general manager. He's become a key authority figure on WWE television while helping younger talent behind the scenes. But unlike Magnus, this next star on our list never truly got the chance to showcase his potential in either promotion. TJ Perkins had multiple runs with TNA. From 2004 to 2016, he worked sporadically. He won the TNA X Division Championship and was part of the Revolution stable during his Impact tenure. WWE came calling in 2016, and Perkins became the inaugural WWE Cruiserweight Champion in one of WWE's most exciting tournaments. He worked in the Cruiserweight division from 2016 to 2019, but never got the chance to showcase his talent outside of the Cruiserweight division. WWE released him in 2019, ending a run that showed flashes of brilliance but never reached its full potential. After WWE, Perkins returned to Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and the independent circuit. Today, TJP remains active across multiple promotions, including New Japan, where he's part of the United Empire faction. He's held the Junior Tag Team and Strong Openweight Tag Team Championships, proving his value on the international scene. But while TJP was never a main event player in TNA, let's talk about one of most charismatic wrestlers in TNA history who had the entire crowd saying, "Dummy, yeah, yeah." LA Knight's journey to WWE stardom took the scenic route through multiple promotions. His run in TNA as Eli Drake was short, but it perfectly laid the foundation for his eventual breakout as LA Knight. In TNA, Drake won the tag titles, the King of the Mountain title, and even the TNA World title, solidifying him as one of the biggest stars outside WWE. WWE called multiple times over the years, but his real breakthrough came when he signed with the company in 2021. He was repackaged as LA Knight in NXT, and suddenly everything clicked. His promos were electric, his catchphrases got over, and fans couldn't get enough of his charisma. Knight got called up to the main roster in 2022 and became one of WWE's most popular stars, despite not holding major championships. While Knight continues to win over fans with his undeniable presence and mic skills, it's yet to be seen if Triple H will grow some balls and pull the trigger on making him a world champion. Speaking of balls, check out this video next about why 2025 is the year when WWE lost its balls.